one application that I kept from the Adobe Creative Cloud, and that was this one, Bridge. Really useful little tool, Adobe Bridge 2026. Really pleased with it, and the great thing about it is now I can scan all the various images I create using a variety of different applications. But for the purposes of this video, it's going to be Boris Optics, which I think is just one of the best applications, and in particular, variations. Now, if you've never explored variations, really useful, great little feature. Let's just select an image. I can go through all these ones and decide on something. I'm just going to go with, say, this one. Nice burning image there. And with that, right click, and you can go to open with. And I've got a load of applications here. Actually, some of them I don't think I've actually got on the system. So I don't know where it accesses this list. Possibly as some registry of various things that it thinks I should be able to use. But I haven't got Acorn, I know. However, what I want is Optics. Weirdly, it's not called Boris Optics, which would make more sense. Personally, it would put it up further up the list. But let's go for Optics and select it. And then we're now into good old Boris Optics. And the great thing about this is that it's got thousands and thousands of filters, thousands of presets to use. In fact, probably too many in many ways. What you get, firstly, you've got this layer, you've got current and you've got the original. So here's the original image, just down here. And you've got this current. At the moment, it's got no effects applied. That's the default. Nothing is applied. It doesn't remember, oh, I'm going to apply X, Y, Z. And you can go here to the filters. And it's based on layers, based on filters on those layers. Or filter layers, I guess they should be called. But also what you can do is you can blend as well between them. There are things I would love to see in Boris Optics that I would love to see improved, but I doubt if they'll ever happen. Various things they could do with this. But that's by the by. Let's just apply a filter. And I'm just going to go here and lens distort. Let's just select one. And something like this one. Warp puff. I really like this one. In fact, I would love to see lots of more variations of this, but it's quite powerful. And the great thing about it is you've got this over here, the presets. And let's just select a preset. And you can just see as you go through it, does change it quite dramatically in places. You've got ones here, very sort of glass distortion effect, or glass texturizer as it calls, minor bloat, and multi, and so on. You can see as you go through these. So let's just select one. I think that one looks quite nice. Change is a gradual thing. Then you've got parameters. I even say the word correctly. Parameters. And you can see that's related to this one. Is related to that. So if I selected in one, you'd have different settings. That's what it is. Okay, what you can then do is just change the amount. Let's just change it slightly. Now, one criticism I would have of this is that the slider here is maybe they could have gone with a minor amount and a major amount, because it's very hard when you're down in very low settings to actually carefully make it 0.19, 0.38, and it can jump quite dramatically. So a more subtle feature. Maybe there's a feature, please put in the comments below if you know of a way of reducing down the impact of the movement. Maybe hold down and shift or something. Maybe there's a feature for that. But it would be nice just to slow it down so it didn't move so dramatically. But that's the point of variations, I think. Variations are great because it gives you a way of exploring those minor variations of that particular setting or any of the settings. Now, it only works with two. In fact, it would be two settings. So how do you get them? Well, you think, oh, you know what? I can go to Window, Variations. Doesn't work that way. If you get the variations up, you can do that. But it will just disappear. And you think, what? Why is it going? Why does it disappear? Doesn't make sense. Well, the reason is what you need to do is click on one of these ones. And I'm just going to go with the most obvious one. It's not always the best one, but it's the most obvious one. And that's amount. Just click it. And as soon as you do that, you can see you get this highlight. A very subtle highlight anyway. It's a slightly different grey. It's not much of a highlight. but you've got a grey there. And you'll notice at the bottom here, you've now got variations. And let's just increase its size a bit, make that one a bit smaller so you can see these variations. Now, confusingly, and I find it slightly confusing, I wish they wouldn't do this where they've got the warp puff. It would be actually more useful if it showed the actual values of those parameters for each of those. It would be just nice. For me, anyway, personally. Maybe a preference. So you could, but it just seems a bit ridiculous having warp puff, warp puff, warp puff all the way through of these variations. Now, if you want, say, more, you might want more than that. 10's good, but maybe you can try and click and you can see you can do that. 10 is what you get. 10 variations on that. And you can then modify this. And let's see if we can push it up. No, it only goes up to 100. So you go up to 100. But you can change it if you want to reduce the variations. And you see, as you reduce it down, let's just reduce it down to 48, 34, becomes actually more manageable in many ways. Sometimes it's not such a great idea having the maximum, because what you get is lots of things where you look at it and go, oh my, there's a lot of, it's hard to really see the wood from the trees in there. So it's nicer when it's smaller, I think, personally, because then you can look at it and see, oh, you know what, that one looks great. And again, it would be nice if the settings were available here in the description. But you can click here, so click that one. And then you'll see you get the variation slightly updated. Because what you're doing is, you notice it's changing that, but then it's obviously rejigging the with the settings again. So you can just keep going like that. So you could click there, you click there, and you click there, and click there, and you can see each time you're just clicking the same one. You're not, but you think, oh, it's not going to change, but it is. It's changing something. It's just applying that variation at that point, and you can see you're now up to 100. Now you can always change it here manually. You don't have to keep what it says. So you can put it down again to maybe like there, like that, and go the other way as well. And also you can go with change this to puff. Puff's quite nice. Shrivel's good as well. Okay, again, just click there and you can see you get that. And if you like it, of course, that design, this preset, this setting, I should say, this setting can then be saved. How? Well, it's not actually obvious. Well, it might be obvious, but it's not obvious. It wasn't obvious to me initially. It's tucked away here. I wish they make it a slightly more useful thing. I don't think it looks like create a custom preset. Doesn't look like that to me. That just looks like a little list. Doesn't give a custom preset vibe. Maybe it could be a bit bigger as well. But still, let's just click it and create that. And you can see then you can give it a name. Obviously, it's put my name and the date. And I always love to put a number or something there. And I would go with that. I wish it would put user in front of it. It would be nice. Something like that. A standard thing. It's just a preference. Just a default name. So you could put like Andrew in front of every single one without having to think. Because yes, I can manually do it, but I'm more likely to forget to put Andrew in front of it. And then I wouldn't know it's one of mine. It would be nice just if it said Andrew there. So I know, and I could then search for all my presets. Unfortunately, it puts it obviously with a number or whatever. Obviously, wherever I create it. Okay, so you've got that. So you can see the variations again down here. They're still here. And you've got this as well. Side, you've got generate. So just generate and you can click there. Obviously, it's manually doing it. So that's just as easy. Auto generate. You could do it manually if you want. It's up to you. Personally, perfectly happy. I suppose if you've got a slow machine, it might cause a bit more of an issue. Okay, you've got one there. And you're thinking, well, one's good, but wouldn't it be nice if it was two? Well, you can. You can go here, and I'm just going to click Rotate, Warp, Direct, DIR. Don't ask me why it's DIR. Direction, I guess. Why they couldn't put direction, but just Rotate, Warp would be just as obvious instead of DIR. And you get that. And now, if we go back down here, you can see you've got 10, but you haven't got 10 because, of course, you've got variations of all those combinations of those two. That is why, of course, they don't push it to 3. you push it to 3, it would then probably generate an awful lot of variations and probably be not very useful to scroll through these. It's very hard to actually, even with 2, to really see good ones. You think, oh, you know what, that looks good. Another thing that would be nice, when you hover over it, it'd be lovely if it would zoom up a bit. You know, you could get a pop-up where it showed you, if you hover over it a bit longer, it would pop up and show you a bit more of a view of it. It's very hard to tell, certainly from my eyesight anyway. But just click here and you can see then you've got this in this variation. And again, you could change it, you make it, maximize it, but you've only got up to 10 for each of them. And you can reduce it down, of course, you might, to make it more manageable, put it down to 3. And you can see now what you've got, 3. Let's put it down to 2. Let's put it to 2. So you can see what you got. You got 2 and 2. That's what you got. That's because it's 2. Strange. And obviously in this case, you got 3 and 3. And you can make it in 4 and 4, obviously, and so on. You can see the idea behind it. And you can just then decide and choose again. You can click on these and you can click on them over and over again. And again, at any point, if you get something you like, you can save as a preset. Now, of course, saving the preset is great, but of course it doesn't mean that when you apply it to something else later, it's going to look as good or not. Depends on the image, of course. Presets are great, but also a great thing about this application, more than many applications, it does actually update them. I don't know about you, I love the fact it updates everything visually. I mean, it must be a little bit of processing power. But personally, I think that's just a great way of seeing the effect. Otherwise, just a bland picture, you can't make out, or just a text saying it's this or that. Doesn't always help. Okay, so you've got this. So you've got your variations, and you've now added this. Now, say with layer, you can do it again. And this is, I think, about the great thing about Boris Optics, is that you can always then just duplicate the layer. You can also delete the filter, etc. You can only have one, as far as I can see, one filter per layer. I don't know why they couldn't have done it slightly different with 2 or 3 filters per layer and maybe make variations in between them. Would have been nice as well. But still, we've got duplicate layer and then you can create another one. And also you can blend between them, of course. So you've got this applied. It's still got the warp buff there. And again, you could go here, variations, but you'll notice what's happened. If I go back to this one, let's just go back to this one. It's been cleared. So variations doesn't stick around long. It's one of those features that disappears, appears if you go up here again. If I just go to this one, again, I can click here. Now I can click that one and you'll notice it doesn't actually do anything. Not all of the labels work. Obviously, as far as it's concerned, you wouldn't want a variation between puff and the shrivel. Maybe. I mean, which I think slightly wrong in many ways, because you might. Especially if a drop down has got lots of functions. And some drop downs have got, like the one that I really love, and let's just go to that one because it's a great one. Render grunge. Now you go to grunge, and grunge has got lots. So you can see you got that. Now let's go down here and just try it. Stamp. Stamp. No, stamp doesn't do it again, which is odd. Now that one would be more obvious. All of the drop downs would be great because click here and you've got a good 10, 15. It would be nice if it could actually run through and show you all the variations of those styles. Don't know why it doesn't do that, personally. Just seems odd just to ignore some of the drop downs. Ones that have only got 2 probably are not so sensible. But there you are. A run through of Boris Optics and what you can create. And let's just finish this off because I'd like to always put it to lighten, or maybe not light in this case. I suppose because it's flame, the lighting doesn't really work as well. But you can see, you can create, and of course you can always change your opacity. You know what? I very rarely ever do think about changing the opacity. But if you change the opacity there, you can put it down to 100%. Don't want that. 72. So you can still see some of the original image, just about through that grunge effect. And again, you've still got all the possibilities of some stamp brightness for variations there. And again, you can see there, you can just click on there and you can see some variations there of that as well. And again, increase that if you wish. And that is the variations feature in Boris Optics. And I think this is one of the really fascinating filter effect applications that I've used. I've used a lot. I'm not going to say names, but there's lots of very good applications out there that I've really liked over the years. But I have to say, for ease of use, for flexibility, for functionality, for a whole range of filters. Now, get me wrong, there are things I think that are missing. Displacement maps. Now, there are a few places where you can play around with it, but I would love to see a real comprehensive displacement map feature in the thing. Be brilliant. Just because displacement maps, I always find one of those things in applications quite often are limited, and you think, why can't it do this? Why can't it do that? Why can't it have a rotation? Why can't it do displacement over color channels? Why can't it do displacements over loads of in different ways, different areas? The further out it reduces the displacement and so on. So it drags, so you get a sort of dragging effect where it squeezes out like liquefied sort of ooze. Hundreds of possibilities for displacements. And this is an application I would love to see have it, especially since I'm certain that sort of displacement features are available in some of the other Boris features. There's lots of other applications. There are lots of Boris tools and they really look good. But the one I really like, because I do still image work, is this. I love Boris Optics and I think it's great. I bring it now back into various other applications and work on it a bit further and do this and do that and blend it in with text and so on. But that's what good applications, really worth checking out. Say, do you use it? Will you be using variations from now on? Have you used variations before? Have you got any ideas and hints and tips? Do you think with variations that I've just completely ignored? It's quite possible. There's lots of features that are still I'm unaware of there. Be great to know. Bye.